All right, and welcome to another series between Ragnarok and Clem. Speaking of Ragnarok, he is this guy here at the bottom left from Alpha X. Once again, Ragnarok.
And at the top right corner, his opponent from Team Liquid. Give it up for Clem.
So if you're wondering, because by the time this video comes out, there should be another Ragnarok versus Clem video, or actually, I don't know. Maybe they're gonna. Maybe I'll group them up together. But anyhow, they have been played. They have played once again before, and Clem and Ragnarok did split up that series 1-1. But of course, each team does have a revive. So it looks like both team will go ahead and have their strongest players out for this one.
Yeah, Ragnarok, of course, looking quite dominant in the World Team League, but of course he is going up against one of the greatest Terrans in the world at the current moment. Clem is definitely nothing to scoff at. I mean, his Terran play, his macro, his micro, he reminds me of Maru, but he's definitely different. he's got his own style and his own aggression, if you will, whereas Maru a bit more well, I can't really call Maru passive, but his playstyle is aggressive in different ways, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you could say Clem does have his little French touch on his playstyle. Man, must be all those baguettes that he's gonna eat. But yeah, he's definitely has a particular playstyle that is very Clemish. I'm not sure if that's a word, but
hey, we will make it a word. Clemish. Yeah, let's get that trending.
Hashtag Clemish.
That's right. Speaking of Clemish things, will he be able... Okay, no, the lings are going to fall back. Oh, okay. Man, whenever I try to do this with my lings, I always lose at least two of them. Ooh, the nade actually, doing a little bit of surface damage to the drones as well, but... Yeah, it looks like a very, very quick third command center. Clem, what are you doing? Amazing. Starting the third command center before the natural is done?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Looks like he's going a little bit extra greedy. And really, there's not a lot that Ragnarok can do about it. It's not like he's got a Roach one already being plotted down, and you can kind of go for a Roach timing attack, but a little bit of a pause there. Hopefully it's not too bad. Looks like we are back into the game here, as hopefully it wasn't too much of an issue. But let's go ahead and just jump right into it. Starport being thrown down, third base command center being morphed in as well, or being made as well, as we mentioned earlier. And speed is about to kick in, so Ragnarok should have at least some lings or speed lings to help defend against these Hellions that are moving across the map.
I never liked taking that third base as a Zerg on this map. Of course, we are here on 2000 Atmospheres, and I'm referring to the triangle third because it's on the low ground, and so from 2 out of 3 angles, you're going down into it. Right, and it's just a little bit awkward. But, interesting. So we do see a Raven following up for Clem. So it looks like Clem is going to try to, limit that creep spread and whatnot, as I mentioned earlier. So I guess this is cool because it's like the best of both worlds. You get the quick third. I'm sure that Overlord is thinking to itself, what the heck? Why do I see 2 orbitals in the main? That's crazy. But of course the Overlord, does also see the tech lab on the starport researching something. So I would not be surprised if Ragnarok follows up with a few spore crawlers. Yep, we do see the spore crawler response from Ragnarok. So a little bit of an outplay by Clem. Of course, he is not going for Cloak Banshees. He's instead just going for a Raven. And yeah, it looks like it's just going to be swapped. The tech lab is going to be swapped onto the barracks, or the barracks is going to be swapped onto the tech lab. Stim is going to start, and we're going to head into a pretty mid-game oriented game number 1, I believe.
Yep, and looks like Clem is gonna go ahead and take out. I think did he take out one of the queen? Oh no, I think the queen got transfused. Okay, the one queen did just fall down right now.
Ooh.
But oh, actually, there's an opening here. These
Oh.
Hellions will go ahead and fry up a couple of these drones, and all in all, a successful little bit of a harassment there by Clem.
Yeah, that was pretty good, I do have to say. I mean, we only just now see the I believe that's the Bane Nest that's about to finish, and then upgrades aren't really on the table for our Zerg just yet because of course the 2 Evo chambers just started. So our Terran player is going to have a pretty significant 1-1 window coming up. So we fully expect to see a very powerful 1-1 push. Oh, but this is interesting. We do see RAGNAROK opting to go for the Spire, which could be a pretty good move if the Terran player continues to build tanks as he is. Now these Hellions, and that is a lot of Hellions, they are going to try to come in. Nice Evo chamber block at the natural base, but these Hellions are going to get all up into the main, scouting out the Spire, and they will take down a lot of Zerglings with them, as well as a couple of drones. But overall, that was 12 Hellions. I don't know. I feel like that was still pretty good for Clem.
I don't know, man. It's like that was a lot of Hellions for only maybe 2 or so drones. I do
Right.
like. I mean, I don't blame him though. There was a huge opening there, and it looked actually very promising. So I myself would have probably done the same thing, gone in instead of back out. However, you got to give it up to RAGNAROK. Under that very awkward and stressful situation, he managed to pull off a really solid defense and only manages to only lose 2 drones there, which it definitely could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, I do have to say, this drop is pretty deadly actually because the two turrets from the Raven are going to drop and just add so much extra DPS, forcing out a lot of transfuses actually. But yeah, I totally agree with you about earlier. I think the reason why I thought it was still decent was because it kept RAGNAROK's drone count low. But the thing is, I think it's simply because he hasn't been able to inject. He missed maybe 1 to 2 inject cycles, and so he's floating a lot of minerals. But only now does he start another 5 drones to complement the 75 that he already has. And of course, he is building a lot of mutas. So these mutas are going to probably go across the map almost. Yeah, they're going to go across the map immediately. A macro hatch is being made in addition to a 5th. If RAGNAROK is not able to defend this 5th, then maybe things might get a little bit more dicey. But yeah, overall, this is a very... like both players are comfortably in the mid game at this point.
Yeah, I feel like it's really going to come down to the Mutalisk play because RAGNAROK invested a lot into these Mutalisks. I mean, he delayed his upgrades quite a bit in order to produce all these Mutalisks. So you can see him only now was he able to finish 1-1, while Clem has already started 2-2. And so yeah, I mean the worker count is pretty okay-ish, but nice little pot shot by the Thor there. But yeah, RAGNAROK's got to be careful with these Mutalisks. I mean, we have seen him play with this composition in the previous series, and RAGNAROK was able to find a lot of success with it. However, can he repeat that success? He's gonna definitely need to find some sort of trade-off for investing into these Mutalisks.
Yeah, so far these mutas are not really doing too much. Of course, they did just snipe that one medevac. Always a good thing to snipe down. Of course, medevacs cost 100 gas. Actually, they literally cost the same amount, but that is not what you want the mutas to be doing. You do not want them to be flying into the middle of a Thor as well as a bunch of Marines. One of them did go down. Of course, mutas do heal up very quickly out of combat. But, oh no, they're taking more pot shots. Trying to trade out for a Widowmine. I don't think that was the right move, but here we go. It looks like the main engagement is just about to start. A bunch of Widowmines are going to connect. The Thor in the front is dealing some damage to the mutas. All the Banes are finally picked off, and there is a lot of bio in the back, ready to push forward back onto the creep.
Yeah, it looks like Clem wants to wait for that creep to recede before taking another engagement. In the meantime, though, Ragnarok is like, I'm just going to rely on the Lings and Banelings to defend at home while I move across the map, pick off some amount of reinforcements, maybe pick up some Widow Mines here and there, maybe some SCVs. Nice little force of a cancel there on the command center. So finding a little bit of damage here and there with these Mutalisks, and also keeping the Terran player kind of more defensive. In the meantime, a huge Ling counterattack that Widowmine I think should have seen it, but it does not allow Clem to close up the wall in time. So some of these Lings will come through. In the meantime, another bunch of Lings coming into the dirt base of Clem. So both of these players just go ahead and trading, just back and forth here.
Yeah, I do like that move by Ragnarok. Obviously it's pretty much a Zerg mantra at this point. Oh, but Widowmine does get a pretty big connection on a big clump of Banelings. I like what Clem is doing right now, where he keeps one Thor in the front. Not only to, try to stave off the mutas, but also to soak up a bunch of Baneling hits. Now, it's not going to be enough because Ragnarok actually gets a huge cleanup, taking the supply lead by a significant amount. I think that Ling run-by definitely helped, to sort of keep Ragnarok in this game and actually put him far ahead, because now look at this. He is on top of the third base, on top of the third orbital command. And, it looks like he's still here with the mutas. There are Banelings to reinforce. There are Lings to reinforce. I think that Ragnarok might want to end the game pretty soon, but I don't think that's possible. A bunch of Banelings did just blow up. So it looks like Ragnarok will be forced to leave for now.
Yeah. However, he did get a decent lead, like you mentioned, and I think very well due to the Ling run-bys, and that's one kind of a little bit of the bane of Clem's TVZ is those Ling run-bys. I mean, we've seen it multiple times when he plays against Raynor. He does really, really well when he has his defenses shirt up and against those Ling run and Baneling run-bys against Raynor. But when he does not have it as shirt up, he does suffer a little bit. So you can see there, Ragnarok getting a lot of economic damage done with those Ling run-bys, and now he's the one that is kind of making sure that Clem stays back at home while he just macros up, getting that Ultralist, then working his way up to that tier 3 army composition.
Yeah, I like that move a lot because it's going to align with the 3-3 as well as the Adrenal Glands upgrade for his Lings. And, actually, okay, these Banelings are going to bust through the wall. They are going to take down a small amount of SCVs. The rest of them are pulled back in time. And Clem is going to keep on pushing, taking advantage of the pretty low creep spread from his opponent. And also catching an entire Ling run-by, which is not a good investment of minerals for Ragnarok. Now, of course, both players are starting to build up their banks, but that's just not a good thing for any player to, basically waste a bunch of resources into, run-by units that are not going to do anything. Now, that is a ridiculous amount of Banelings. Some friendly fire on the Widowmines as well, so not the best connections. A bunch of Widowmines are still trying to see whatever they can do. At the same time, a bunch of Banelings are still rolling around on the ground. Mutas are going to try to complement this Lingbane army, but I think that this is... I think that this is just a stalling technique to try to wait for the Ultra upgrades, and then, once you have them, you can start to force them out.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of very good Widowmine hits in these past couple of seconds. I think that's what's keeping Clem a little bit up alive. Oh my god, another one.
Please. Oh, Clem, stop it. Oh my god, we have more. Now, I do have to say on that last Widowmine hit, maybe it was Ragnarok's micro, maybe it was just dumb luck. I think it was his micro because he split off the Banelings. So, Bio-Terrans are not the only ones that have to learn how to split.
Yeah. Now, Clem did scan the top left base, so it looks like he is going to go ahead and dive into that one, take that one out. But at the same time, Ragnarok keeping up with these run-bys once again. And even though there is a sensor tower, it looks like that is not going to be quite enough. These Mutalisks get on top of the rest of the SCVs. Banelings get the connections. 21 SCVs going down, and further putting a dent into the income of our Red Terran.
Yeah, look at this. We have 90 drones as opposed to 64 SCVs. And the mutas are going to get into the main, trying to pick off whatever they can in the form of a reactor on the factory, just to stall out Clem's production a little bit. Not that he needs it, because of course both players are still maxed out. So at this point, it's really about who gets the better trade. And oh, okay, another ridiculous Widowmine hit. Man, when is it going to stop? I mean, mutas, I'm glad that, you know, as a Zerg player, I'm so glad that mutas, at least the surrounding mutas, aside from the first one targeted, they don't all die immediately to the Widowmines. But speaking of dying immediately to Widowmines, yet another couple of hits are going to go down on the Banelings. Another one, but is it going to be enough? The Ultras are still full health. I'm not too sure about this.
Yeah, there's so many Banelings in here. It looks like the majority of the Widowmines has been wiped out on, at least at this side of the base. And another command center, or planetary rather, going down. He does save at least the top left one as it's floating around, but I mean, the economy of Ragnarok is kicking in, as you can see. It's starting to overwhelm starting to overwhelm Clem here, and he still has no answer for the Ultralisk. Are there any ghosts out there? Are there any liberators out there? Nope. There is literally not a lot of answers. He can only rely on those Marauders, which, you know, with the Lings and Banelings and the Mutalisks, can kind of clean them up. And once again, Ragnarok going to go for these Mutalisk pickoffs.
Yeah, Ragnarok has been super active with his mutas. We got to give him props. I mean, these mutas are, I think by this point, they've definitely paid themselves off. You know, they were definitely worth the investment. But of course, Clem, on the other hand, is going to be able to get his 5th base up and running. I understand that Ragnarok, you know, he has a bunch of bases of his own, but every single new base that Clem has, he can suck up all the resources through the mules, and then it becomes like a second wind, right? Because Clem, as we can see, is maxed out yet again, whereas just a minute ago, he was not maxed out and he didn't have a bank. Oh, but hold that thought, because these Banelings are going to roll in from the side. Are they going to be able to connect on those juicy Marines? Looks like the Ultras are going to lead the charge in the front. These mutas are going to bring up the rear, finishing off whatever Marauders remain. But so far, okay, pretty decent micro by Clem. But again, is it going to be enough? I don't know, because every minute that passes by, you know, both players are spending their banks, but only one of them is able to remax on that bank.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Ragnarok, I mean, I guess one of the great things about this map for him is that because it's a large map, he can rebuild another hatchery if he loses on one side of the map. You can just rebuild it on the other side of the map. And let's hold that thought as these Mutalisks finds a juicy open base here. We'll go ahead and shut that down. In the meantime, oh my goodness, these Widowmines once again. Man.
Wow. Clem just does not stop with the Widowmines. You know, I'd love to see a resources loss tab or something like that, because I'm pretty sure Clem is going to come out way on top. Now, of course, he did just lose that 5th base. Thankfully, he does have another orbital, probably floated from the main. I'm not too sure, but in any case, that orbital is going to set up shop at the south/southeast side of the map, able to take yet another fresh mining base. Excellent Baneling and Ling splits, making sure to bait out some shots. Now, one of those shots does land on a bunch of the queens, but yeah, it's just, oh man, it's just like you said like a few minutes ago, Snoopy. I think that we're about to see Clem get overrun by the sheer amount of Zerg.
Yeah, and there's still no answer for these Ultralisks. He is doing his best to kite them, but he's stemming so heavily. Another great Widowmine shot once again, but all these Marauders are quite low in life. All these medevacs are all drained out of energy, and so he can only stem a certain amount of time. And the Ragnarok once again is expanding across the map once again. Oh
wow, guys! I just learned something new. A Widowmine does not one-shot Baneling cocoons, and I can now die happy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
so
man.
great news there for Ragnarok as he is once again going to go ahead and claim another orbital here.
Oh, okay. Majority of the mutas do get picked off. I think at this point that was probably worth it because Ragnarok is doing everything in his power to keep Clem on, less than 5 mining bases. Now, Clem is going to be able to get up that 5th base running once again, and he actually does have some mutas left over to chase this medevac. But I mean, both players have spent something like 5 banks, separately. But Ragnarok is still going to be coming out on top. He has the better income overall. These Widow Mines are going to get in a couple of good shots, but man, if Ragnarok is able to defend this base, he's golden.
Yeah. Oh, looks like the DPS though will be able to allow Clem to take that hatchery off in the blink of an eye. Gonna go ahead and actually go into the main base, which is pretty smart because
Ooh.
all the Mutalists has or the Mutalist count was pretty low. So recognizing this, he's gonna go ahead and take the risk of floating into the main. But once again, these medevacs so low in life or so low in energy, not going to be able to replenish the life of these infantry units. And so Clem, he's going to have to be careful not to overdo it, not to overextend. He is keeping Ragnarok a little bit so far in the back, but oh, actually a nice catch off with all these Widow Mines.
Oh, okay. Man, these Widow Mines are relentless. I mean, props to Clem, but also props to Ragnarok for being able to trade out just efficiently enough to come out ahead. I mean, this is just an absolute slugfest here in game number 1. Both players have, very even upgrades. They are pretty well versed in like what to do against each other. But yeah, anyways, here we go. So we see the Zerg engaging off of creep, it looks like, on the minimap. Yep, there we go. So the Ultras are going to tank a ton of Marauder shells in the front. Lings are actually going to divert to the 5th base. I think that is an excellent move, chewing up all of the SCVs. Clem is basically down to the amount of SCVs that he started this game with. Now, it doesn't look like, Clem is willing to leave just yet. Ragnarok, of course, cannot push into that choke without losing a bunch of army. In fact, he's still pushing and he's still losing a bunch of army. 2 Ultras go down for basically free. But I'm not sure if it matters because look at Ragnarok. He's got mining bases, he's got income, and he's not stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, right now Ragnarok is just blowing ahead of Clem in terms of mining. I don't think Clem even has. Yeah, he's mining off like maybe half a base, or even maybe lower than that. I don't know, but yeah, taking off that base at the kind of the 11 o'clock position was really crucial. And now Clem is reeling. He's gonna have to make some magic happen. He's gonna have to pull a rabbit out of the hat, but I don't know. I'm not even sure there's a rabbit in the hat.
That's right. I mean, he's doing his best with the bio here, but look at that. The Lings are going to force yet another liftoff. Mutas are actually going to confirm the kill on the orbital yet again. Bio is stemming forward into the natural heart of the Zerg, which is pretty good, but this amount of Ling Bane, unless you get the perfect Widow Mine hits, and it looks like the hits are not going to be good enough, yeah, it looks like Clem is I mean, we see him looking a little bit disappointed on the camera, and GG is called. Ragnarok is going to take game number 1.
All right, so throughout this Alpha X versus Team Liquid series, there's only one guy that has taken games off of Clem, and it has been Ragnarok. However, can he do it once more in this game number 2 on Curious Minds?
Yeah, I'd say this is pretty much a make it or break it situation. Clem obviously taking his team pretty far after a deficit of 2 lives in the beginning. Ragnarok able to take out 2 of his teammates. But now we are on the last player for both Team Liquid and Alpha X. So this is going to be a pretty critical match.
Yeah, this is basically to determine who will advance forward into the further into the playoffs. Um, I would say these are probably two of the top North American teams in terms of Alpha X and Team Liquid, unless I'm forgetting another one. Maybe Sidestorm Gaming is another contender.
Ooh, I was gonna say Shopify.
Oh,
Rebellion. They've got a
right.
pretty good team. But
Shopify,
yeah, you know what? Alpha X represent. We are the best. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, actually, actually, I take that back. Yeah, Shopify Rebellion and Team Liquid, I think. Yeah, but Alpha X is in the running, is in the conversation.
That's right. Hell yeah. Now, interestingly enough, we did see that Clem did not go Reaper first, going straight into the reactor, I believe. Yep. Okay, so we are going to see a 2-1-1-esque type of build. Now, of course, the factory did go down before the second barracks, so it's not exactly a two. Well, it could be a variant, but basically what I'm trying to say is that it is definitely going to be a marine-focused opening. Oh, but we also see an armory, so it's going to be a quick Hellbat push, I believe. That armory is actually very quick. It went down immediately after the factory finished. So it's going to be up to RAGNAROK to scout this out early enough and make sure that he has enough defense for it. But I don't think defense is really a question because he's making a lot of lings. Is RAGNAROK about to go for an attack, do you think?
Oh yeah, it looks like he is looking to put on some pressure, and I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, that ramp there looks pretty open. Only now is the supply depot being placed down, but either he scattered something or he was going for a big attack earlier on. But in the end, it's going to work out in his favor because that army has finished. These Hellions are going to go ahead and turn into Hellbats. So these Speedlings are going to be very useful for this engagement. And here we go. Looks like he's going to feel safe enough to go for a counter while defending at home. And there's absolutely nothing here to defend. Oh boy, no. Clement again.
Disappointment on his face. I mean, RAGNAROK was so confident, and that was actually exactly the correct call. He had just enough lanes to defend at home. Very cute split on the queens, I want to mention. Shout out to that. But like, look at this. I mean, already a disaster. 6 SCVs have gone down. The SCVs are struggling to stay alive. The Hellions are also struggling to stay alive. This could be game. I think this is just an immediate GG, right? Like I mean, unless Clem drags this game out and somehow claws himself back into the game after like, you know, another 10 minutes. I don't know. This is pretty game ending right here. RAGNAROK is up to 40 workers. His opponent is only on 27. You know, we see Stim just starting. I think that was a very good opening for our blue Zerg. I do have to say it was a little bit of a build order loss in a way. But yeah, I mean, very well played by RAGNAROK nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. He took the chance and it paid off big time for him. And you know, being that this is the kind of the do or die situation, because if Clem does lose, that pretty much means Team Liquid goes home, and it's going to be eliminated from the tournament. So he is going to go ahead and give a little bit of a fight, you know, and going to go ahead and prolong this game. But at the very least, RAGNAROK has set himself up and Alpha X to be in a great situation to take this 2-0. But of course, it all comes down to can he close out the game, and we will find out very soon.
Yeah, it looks like RAGNAROK's follow-up is going to be something like a Roachling type of attack. He does... oh, I could have sworn I saw +1 Carapace being queued up earlier. I think that he canceled it after scouting this big group of Marines coming across, and so he wants to save the rest of those resources for additional Roaches, and he is going to need them. This is actually a little bit dicey. We do see that the Marines are going to get on top of the base. The Hellbats are coming in to reinforce, but here are the Roaches. And of course, Roaches, especially this early in the game, they're pretty hard to kill. Hellbats are going to have a rough time dealing with them. Marines do have the DPS to break through their armor, of course, but I don't know. This group is just about to fall. The Queens and the remaining Roaches are going to clean it up. A big group of drones do fall, but it's still not enough because look at that. RAGNAROK is still ahead by 10 workers.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, you know, Ragnarok does have the defender's advantage, and there was no medevac to assist in that attack, so there was not a lot of healing. So he could only like stim once at most twice, and there was no again no healing for the Hellbats. So yeah, nice defense there by Ragnarok. Does lose a couple of drones, I believe 6 or so, but at the grand scheme of things, I think Ragnarok will take it as he pulls ahead on the economy. 61 drones versus 46 SCVs. Finally, Clem takes off that pervy overlord. But I think, yeah, Ragnarok should be okay for this. At least this next round of it, or this next drop attack. I believe the watchtower is secured by him as well, so he sees this coming. Will position his roaches at the correct area, and even though he doesn't have, wait, does he have roach? No, he doesn't have roach speed. So, but even though he doesn't have roach speed, he's okay. He can kind of prolong it. Only now is it going to be finished. And, but yeah, he has more than enough roaches to defend against this. So
Yeah, I do have to say props for Clem for, just trying to do whatever he can to stay in the game. He really is a Terran's Terran, just making sure that he can deal whatever kind of damage is possible on the map. Ooh, that's a little bit unfortunate. One siege tank does get caught behind the mess of buildings in the main. I mean, I say mess, but honestly, it does look like a pretty tidy main. It's just unfortunate that one tank does get caught out. Now we do see an Overseer coming through, making sure that nothing, no shenanigans are afoot, making sure that, hey, my opponent is indeed going to do a bio follow-up and not try to catch me off guard with some sort of mech play. So, yeah, Ragnarok is in full control of this game, I have to say.
yeah, he's definitely in full control. However, I gotta say his creep spread isn't as far ahead as I would like it to be. However, that being said, this is a big, large map, so it's a little bit difficult to creep all over the place. However, it looks like it doesn't matter as Ragnarok is looking to go for potentially what could be the final and blowing the final kill here. 2 tanks though. Oh, actually 3 tanks in the high ground really clumped up, and these corrosive biles are going to do work for him, and all these Marines are going to get evaporated to these roaches and ravagers.
Yeah, I have to say this was one of the most inefficient trades possible, but I really don't think it matters. Look at that. Ragnarok is doubling his opponent in supply, forcing the liftoff on the 3rd command center. A bunch of biles are going to take care of some buildings as well. And we do see a bunch of lings being queued up to reinforce, in addition to the roaches that have already been produced. Yeah, I think this is almost game. We're about to see something happen.
Yeah, now I know that roaches does inflate the supply, but this is a quite significant supply, despite how inflated roaches are. And also during that engagement, he did reset the tank count, which makes it easier for the follow-up. And with the added links, he can take further additional tank damage while the roaches and ravagers get on top of those Marines and the tank. So looks like Ragnarok has set himself up to go for that final chess move, that final checkmate for Clem. However, Clem being so resilient, he is going to go ahead and try to find some way to climb back into this game by going for these drops. But Ragnarok, he's keeping tabs on that. He has the watchtower. He has a really great overlord spread on these sides as well.
Excellent use of the biles. Oh man, that command center is so sad. Can you imagine the pilot of that orbital just being like, dude, let me land, bro. Like, I'm pacifist. I don't even want to fight you. I'm not a planetary. Just let me do my work.
I know, right?
Of course, the Ravagers are, making sure that, hey, you are not going to be allowed to land there. Again, just as you said earlier, props to Clem. He's building up that tank count. He's building up the Marine count. He's doing everything in his power to stay in the game. And of course, in the end, if Ragnarok does not make any significant mistakes, it's not going to be enough, but it's still a valiant effort.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? If there is one Terran that can kind of bring a hopeless situation back into a hopeful one, I mean, there are a few Terrans out there that can do it, and Clem is one of those. So, I mean, it's definitely possible, but yeah, definitely really, really difficult. Especially since against a Ragnarok that has been playing so solidly and so strong. I think this is like probably you can make an argument that this has been the best that Ragnarok has been playing throughout his whole career, and he is definitely on fire today. And we'll see if Clem can stop and put a stomp into that momentum. But here we go, so many banelings.
Oh my god, when in doubt, just go banelings. They are rolling on through. They will take a lot of hits, but not enough are, not enough of the Marines are going to survive. I mean, SUVs are going down left and right. I believe 4 drones also went down. 5 drones are going down to some. I think that's a drop on the other side of the map, possibly. But it's not like it matters. I mean, we see we see Vipers on the field. Clem is under 100 supply. There is no way, other than Ragnarok intentionally throwing, that Clem actually takes this game.
Yeah, I mean, someone will need to like drug Ragnarok and have him pass out for the next hour or two.
Yeah.
And
now,
then,
to be fair, Roach Ravager is, Lingbane Roach Ravager is pretty weak, and it's also heavily inflated in terms of the supply. So a pretty simple way for Ragnarok to throw would be to keep poking and never deliver the final blow, because, you give Clem enough time to max out. His maxed out bio tank army is pound for pound way better than Roach Ravager. Again, that's like a one way to throw, but I doubt it's going to happen. I mean, Ragnarok is so active on the map. I think that was a Baneling run by, possibly. I'm not sure, but like, I mean, like, you can just dump so many minerals and so much gas into these Banelings.
yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's a great point, though. I have seen many Zergs that was pretty ahead with this same composition of Roaches and Ravagers, and they had thrown away. But I think Ragnarok ensuring that with these Ripers, ensuring that that doesn't happen. These tanks are going to get completely wiped out. All that's left are these Marines. They're going to go ahead and try to kite for their life, but there's so much Baneling still here left over for Ragnarok. And here we go, a blinding cloud on top of the Marines. He will kite back a little bit here, but I think with the supply, very telling of what situation we're in, as Clem is going to go ahead and fall below, like, yeah, I think Ragnarok is like twice the overall supply of Clem right now. And, I mean, he doesn't quite get the finishing blow, but more reinforcements coming and popping out of the hatchery, even adding a Ultralist. So the Ultralist transition is already underway, and Clem, he's this time is about to run out.
That's right. GG is called, and Ragnarok is gonna take this game 2-0. Look at that, a very nice all kill for Alpha X. Nice.
Yeah, Ragnarok bringing home the victory, and you can see smile on Zoun's face as well. Classic, a little bit subdued, but I'm sure he's happy as well. But congrats to Alpha X, but also congrats to Team Liquid for reaching this far. But yep, congrats to Alpha X as they move on to the next round.